Kevin Durant recently shared his thoughts on the NBA's new All-Star Game format. Last season, the league reverted to the classic Eastern Conference versus Western Conference format after 6 years of using the captain draft system. However, the return to tradition was short-lived, as the NBA has decided to experiment again. The 2025 NBA All-Star Game will feature 4 teams competing in a one-day tournament-style format. Durant wasted no time expressing his distaste for the new setup, saying he prefers the traditional East versus West matchup. The 2025 NBA All-Star Game will feature a new format, which has drawn mixed reactions from fans and players alike. Instead of the traditional setup, this year's game will include 4 teams competing in a tournament to determine the last team standing. Each team will have its own general manager, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Candace Parker. O'Neal, Barkley, and Smith will draft players from the NBA All-Star roster, while Parker will manage a team composed of the league's rising stars. The All-Star Draft is scheduled for February 6, 2025, with each team selecting 8 players. The tournament itself will take place on February 16, 2025, and will feature 3 games. In the first round, the 4 teams will face off, with the winners advancing to the third and final game. The winner of the championship game will be crowned the All-Star champions. To avoid excessive fatigue, each game will have a target score of 40 points, significantly reducing playing time compared to a standard game. The new format introduces multiple technical aspects that could overshadow the fun and simplicity traditionally associated with the All-Star Game. However, as Kevin Durant acknowledged, it remains to be seen how the format will perform in action. The NBA, always eager to experiment and inject excitement into its marquee events, recently unveiled a revamped format for its All-Star Game. The announcement came with fanfare, dramatic visuals, and promises of heightened competition. But not everyone was thrilled. Among the skeptics was Phoenix Suns star Kevin Durant, who wasted no time sharing his unfiltered thoughts. In a matter of hours after the NBA's press release, Durant bluntly criticized the changes, leaving fans, pundits, and league officials buzzing about his candid remarks. Durant, never one to mince words, delivered his opinion during a post-practice media session. "I absolutely hate it," he declared when asked about the league's decision to implement the new All-Star format. His critique wasn't merely a passing comment, it was a detailed breakdown of what he perceived as flaws in the league's attempt to fix something that, in his eyes, wasn't broken. The 2024 All-Star Game, scheduled to take place in Indianapolis, will feature a groundbreaking change: the introduction of a tournament of skills. Instead of the traditional East versus West, or the more recent player draft format, the All-Star Game will now consist of 3 mini-games, each focusing on a different basketball skill: shooting, passing, and defense. Points accumulated across these events will determine the winner, with a final 5-minute clutch showdown serving as the tiebreaker if needed. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver described the new format as a celebration of the essence of basketball. He emphasized that the league wanted to highlight the fundamentals that make the sport beautiful while still giving fans a show. Yet, for Durant, the move felt more like a spectacle than a genuine competition. Durant began his criticism by pointing out the rich tradition of the All-Star Game and the role it plays in showcasing the league's best talent. "The All-Star Game is supposed to be a display of the best players in the world going at it, showing why they're the best," Durant said. "You don't need gimmicks for that. Just let us hoop." For Durant, the new format prioritizes entertainment at the expense of authenticity. He argued that the league's constant tinkering with the All-Star Game reflects an underlying insecurity about the event's relevance. "Fans don't want a skills challenge pretending to be an all-star game," he continued. They want to see LeBron, Steph, Luka, and all the greats battling it out on the court. You're taking away from what makes this game special. Durant's disdain wasn't limited to the concept. He also mocked the potential ripple effects of such changes. If this is where we're headed, what's next? Adding dunk contest points to the regular season standings? Turning playoff games into 3-on-3 tournaments? We don't need to overcomplicate basketball. It's already the greatest sport in the world. His biting sarcasm underscored his frustration with the league's tendency to prioritize novelty over tradition. Durant's critique seemed aimed not only at the All-Star format, but also at a broader trend in the NBA, an increasing focus on fan engagement metrics and social media buzz at the expense of the game's purity. Unsurprisingly, Durant's comments sparked a polarizing reaction among fans. On one side, traditionalists applauded his candor, agreeing that the All-Star Game should remain a straightforward showcase of the league's elite talent. KD said what needed to be said, tweeted one fan. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Just play basketball. Others, however, accused Durant of resisting change and failing to see the league's efforts to make the game more exciting. Kevin Durant is stuck in the past, one critic wrote. The NBA needs to evolve to stay relevant. People don't want to watch a meaningless exhibition game anymore. This divide highlights the broader challenge facing the NBA, balancing the desires of purists with the need to adapt to a changing entertainment landscape. Durant wasn't alone in his skepticism. While not as outspoken, other players voiced concerns about the new format. Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James, often seen as a diplomat within the league, offered a more measured response. It's interesting, he said when asked about the changes. I'm open to trying it, but I think we need to see how it plays out. Golden State Warriors guard Stephen Curry, known for his love of innovation, struck a slightly more optimistic tone. I think it could be fun, Curry said. But it's definitely a departure from what we're used to. I just hope it doesn't lose the competitive spirit. Meanwhile, younger players like Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton expressed excitement about the format, viewing it as an opportunity to showcase their skills in unique ways. Amid the backlash, Adam Silver and other league officials defended the new format. Silver emphasized that the changes were driven by extensive fan research. We've listened to our fans, and what they're telling us is they want to see something different, he explained. The All-Star Game has always been a platform for innovation, and we believe this format will bring a new level of excitement. The league also pointed to declining viewership numbers for recent All-Star Games as evidence that a shakeup was necessary. Despite Silver's assurances, Durant wasn't convinced, calling the data-driven approach out of touch with what players and die-hard fans actually want. Durant's criticism isn't the first time a high-profile player has clashed with the league over All-Star changes. In 2018, LeBron James and Stephen Curry voiced initial reservations about the player draft format, only to embrace it after its success. However, Durant's comments feel different. They stem not from skepticism about logistics, but from a fundamental disagreement about the event's purpose.